I would say 98% of the people in that room were against what was being proposed.
You need to vote no. You need to not recommend this project.
This is a 2,200 acre project. This is equally as large as Centerpoint Elwood, which was the largest intermodal in the country, and is now the third largest intermodal in the world.
But Compass Business Park is not 2,000 acres all lumped together into a single rectangular shape. This is what it would look like if it was overlaid on top of the city of Chicago.
Compass Business Park is a safe, responsible, and smart plan for long-term growth that reflects the needs and concerns of this community.
Elwood will be surrounded on two sides and kind of a little bit to the south as well by warehouses. This will totally stunt growth for Elwood.
Why do we need more warehouses? Why do we need more trucks? We have enough as it is.
We're not just a bunch of hillbillies stomping our feet that we don't want this project. You know, we got educated about the project and the details of it, and we're smart enough to see that this is a terrible idea.
I don't want you here. There's hundreds of people that don't want you here. Nobody said these words. Why?
Now, who's the guy that did the real estate? You're full of shit.
And I think they were trying to keep it under wraps, and that didn't work.
They all live there, so I can't wrap my head around how and why they would be so willing to sell their whole town out to this developer, which is what would happen.
We can't stress enough our commitment to being a good neighbor and ensuring that Compass Business Park benefits the community and the region as a whole.
It's absolutely mind-boggling that that the vote would go the way that it did.
Elwood is a town of about 2,000 residents. It has a small downtown area and then 2 or 3 subdivisions kind of in the outlying area, many parks, what you'd consider a small city.
My husband grew up in this town. I asked him where he lived, and he's like, Elwood. I'm like, what? Never heard of it. And then he brought me out here one time, and I never could find it again.
It's still got that small town taste and touch that people appreciate when they move into Elwood.
We're kind of lucky because we're close to Chicago, so you can get to Chicago or Joliet or even Kankakee really easily, but then when you come home, you have the nice cornfields and it's quiet.
It's a nice, small community. I mean, you go to the store and you know people, and you run into people every place you go.
I think I was probably one of the first people that heard about it because I am the Jackson Township clerk. Myself and our township supervisor and then a township trustee went and met with 2 representatives from North Point. And then from there, the cat kind of got let out of the bag. And I think they were trying to keep it under wraps, and that didn't work. So that was June, the first weekend in June of last year, so 2017.
We had just bought our house. I mean, we had just finished, painting and still unpacking boxes. And what happened is find out about this project, and it just ripped that dream away from us. So it was a mixture of just shock and upset and disappointment and anger and I don't know, a whole mix of emotions.
I actually lived right here on the main drag through town for seven or so years, and part of the reason we moved out into the country was because of the truck traffic through town, because the warehouses began affecting our lives, began affecting our children's lives. I was afraid for them to go out in the front yard and play. So we made the decision to sell our home and buy another one farther away and still be in the same community. And it was like it chased me out there. When I saw it, I was just in absolute disbelief that not only the west side of town was just going to be destroyed by this, now they were doing it to the east side of town too.
My parents live in the same neighborhood as Delilah. So when I saw how close it was to their house, that's when I really got like upset. And I saw whose houses, like there was a warehouse over my friend's house. And I said to the people I met with at North Point, I go, what happens to that house there? And they said, oh, well, they'll be given, we'll pay for their house, a very nice price. And I said, they're an opportunity cost for you guys. You don't care. You are going to ruin this town. They don't see it that way. But I was disgusted. When I left that meeting, I think I cried because I was disgusted.
I found out through it, the St. Oda North Point group that was started back in June of 2017, when there was a picture or something leaked. It's like one person found out, told somebody else, and it just spiraled from there, and now pretty much everybody knows about it.
Just St. Oda North Point is a grassroots effort, basically, that kind of sprung up when we first found out about the project. Myself, Delilah Legrette, Katie Hunt, a handful of other people kind of got together and met up to discuss, like, how do we stop this? So we started meeting together and we're like, all right, well, we'll make a Facebook page. So we started the Facebook page and started a little activist group online. And then that turned into creating a website.
We did not know each other on a personal level before this had started.
Right.
We just got together and sat down and talked about the project a little bit, about what it meant. We said, we need to find out some more information. Really, our singular focus is to show that the Compass Business Park is not the best option for the Village of Elwood or the surrounding municipalities, because really it affects more than just the Village of Elwood.
Right.
This area does not have the infrastructure to sustain the truck traffic and the traffic in general that we already have. So, we've got all these bridges that are in disrepair that have to be closed because there's another hole in the bridge. That impacts safety. So when you've got roads that are overcrowded and people are trying to get places and they're stuck in traffic jams and you have more accidents, it's a serious concern. If you get hit by a semi, that's a lot different than a little bit of a fender bender.
We have Medewan and the Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery both to our south. First of all, I think Medewan's going to be affected by the pollution. I think that the truck traffic and whatever manufacturing they have going on and all the extra, railroad activity that's going to have a negative effect on their, ecosystem. The Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery, it's already tough when there's funeral processions. Because they get in the middle of trucks, or funeral processions, they don't stop at the red lights, but you have trucks that aren't paying attention, or even cars for that matter that aren't paying attention, and they will cut off the funeral procession. And then we have trucks that go into the cemetery lost, and when they turn around on some of the graves. That's happened a few times.
This project is also just a bad deal. It's a bad business deal. Like, anybody who looks at the annexation agreement can gather just how hosed Elwood is getting by this deal. I mean, they really are not getting any benefits out of it.
Democracy works if people really get involved. And what we've seen over the course of the last 18 months was residents actually getting involved in their local government and saying, wait a minute, what you're trying to do, we're not in line with, and we want you to look at something different.
WGN's Patrick Elwood is there, joins us live with the story. Hey, Pat. Tom and Micah, good evening to you. As you mentioned, it's packed elbow to elbow as local residents tell the zoning board how they feel about this proposed facility. Some for, mostly residents against what's happening out here, or proposed anyway.
It was quite contentious.
People were angry that, this project has been kept in such secrecy, and they really poured their hearts out.
And I can't sell my lot because my daughter runs a real estate agency. And who's the guy that did the real estate? You're full of shit. Come on, yeah, okay, that's fine, but my daughter sells property, and there are people in this town that are trying to sell their houses.
This
and they
is not
can't
a
sell
time
them.
for personal attacks.
Well, I'm not.
This is
personal
time
attack.
for you to
I'm just
provide
telling
your
them
evidence.
the truth.
Mac, come on, you know better.
That's fine. I'm done because my daughter says I can't sell my house without losing a ton of money. I can't sell my lot because I'm going to lose a ton of money. So I don't know. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot.
I'd first like to mention and ask you all to be aware of the members of the community that are here, because we love our community and we want to see it maintained. And the number of people here who are paid to be here, these gentlemen here mainly. And sometimes when you're paid, you will say whatever you need to say. In addition, we have some union members here, one of whom was overheard asking, "What county are we in?"
You had talked about that the city of Elwood would pay up to 70% of the cost of the 53 bridge. Is that correct? A cost of $14 million is what you told us last week.
We've been down that road a number of times.
What I want to understand here is how is Elwood going to pay you? I don't understand where this money's coming from.
All right, look.
You're getting paid for.
Let me say that. Let's just hold on. Okay. Let me say this. That first of all, we've said that's going to be discussed as part of the annexation agreement.
Don't you think we deserve a right to know what that is?
I let you talk. So here's my suggestion. Patrick, answer that question once, and then we're done answering it for the night, okay? Fair enough?
I want to know where this TIF money...
Let him answer what his proposal is, and then we've talked about that one enough, okay?
Look, the project will pay for the bridge based on revenue generated by the project. And the specific details of which, will you please let me answer too?
Well, I don't understand what you're telling me. So let me ask a question.
Maybe
so I understand
if you
what you're saying.
would just settle down for a minute and let him answer the question, he might be able to convey his thoughts, and then we're done with this issue.
So it's the project, right? Compass Business Park as a project will generate revenue, and that's the revenue that will pay for the project. Look, the reality is that the Village of Elwood, day one, will receive revenue from this project. And the specific details of that will be discussed with the village trustees and mayor at that hearing.
Here's your question. Exactly what is the length and the width of this bridge going to be? Is it 2 lanes or 4 lanes?
We're working closely with IDOT on that.
Is it 2 lanes or 4 lanes?
Let him answer the question.
Right. So our first draft, which I have here, I believe we had 3 lanes, and
with a bike path.
That's correct. Yeah.
So 2 vehicle lanes and 1 bike path, or 3 vehicle lanes and a bike path?
And 1 bike path. Yes.
So do you actually think that there's going to be bicyclists riding on this bike path with all these trucks? Do you honestly believe that?
I answered that question previously, but what I would share is my prior answer.
Have you guys been up and down Arsenal Road?
Yes.
You see that it's 4 lanes, correct?
Yes.
You see that they can't keep up with all those trucks right now. So why in the world would you do a 2-lane or a 3-lane for all these trucks coming?
It's based on the traffic study.
Yeah, your traffic study's not correct.
And at one time I thought I heard in one of my classes that the government was supposed to be of the people, by the people, and for the people. That means you're supposed to represent them, not represent these people.
We are expecting our first child, but instead of being excited, I lay awake worrying that my child will not grow up in a town where the air is fresh, the stars are visible, and they will be able to chase fireflies at night. I worry that I have ruined our lives by placing my family in imminent danger. Why isn't everybody this furious? We don't want, nobody here wants this. It's obvious as a Nose on your face.
We hear that. I'm sure the commission hears
But,
that.
so why are we here tonight? Why did this go to a second night?
So everybody can speak. If nobody wants to speak, we can end the thing right now. The commission can vote, and we'll go home.
No, man.
We're here to give
I want
everybody
everybody
the-
to speak. I want this
we're
to go
here
on.
to give-
I
sir.
want this to go on till Monday morning.
Sir, we're here to...
I allocate my time. Thank you.
And I'm all for economic development. You guys came to my office and sat down with me on May 23rd of last year. It's when I found out about what you were doing. And we've had a good, strong discussion about what you wanted to do. I told you where you were going to find your pitfalls. I think you've seen it tonight. And I warned you.
North Point development will only serve to further deteriorate our roads, making travel even more unsafe and further congested. It will destroy prime farmland and decimate our quality of life. So I urge you to vote no to the annexation and rezoning recommendation for this land. You have the power to make that decision. Weigh the facts and do not become a victim of corporate greed. Do not be bamboozled by creative rhetoric and a slick presentation. I just hope that you all are smarter than that. Thank you very much for your time.
But I represent 108,000 people in the 86th district. You guys represent 2,400 in the village of Elwood and 5,000 in Jackson Township. Listen to them. That's what I do. Sometimes we don't agree. I get it. But this is one big issue, folks. Listen to them. Thank you.
There's been hearty discourse which will make Compass Business Park better should the project receive approval from the Village of Elwood. I understand fully that there has been a lot of heartfelt emotion and sentiment regarding this process. And in recognition of that, we can't stress enough our commitment to being a good neighbor and ensuring that Compass Business Park benefits the community and the region as a whole. With Compass Business Park, you do have a partner in North Point that will set a new standard in development. Together, we have an opportunity to set the course for the future. I think we can all agree that given the development of the intermodals and trends in the new online economy, growth in Will County will continue with or without Compass Business Park. So without Compass Business Park, what's the alternative? What's plan B? Compass Business Park puts Elwood in the driver's seat. It can control its own destiny and benefit from thoughtful, planned development that keeps trucks off local roads. Or it can continue to watch what's happened during the past decade and stay the course with the Wild West mentality. In other words, more warehouses, no long-term planning, and no voice in how development is built or how developers operate. I don't think anyone here tonight thinks that's a good strategy.
Just say no to North Point Group. They put on a good presentation and got that information out to the residents, which was, really good to see.
It was amazing to be a part of it because you really had the entire community coming together at those hearings.
100 people spoke at those meetings, all 3 nights. 3 were for the project.
The growth in this area is not going to stop. We have the largest inland port in the United States right here. As long as there's vacant land, there's going to be people willing to sell that vacant land to developers. We all know it. You can look up and down Route 53. It's pretty obvious what the future holds for this area.
The transformation of Will County, Illinois, into one of the largest inland ports in North America has translated into significant job growth in the community and created an economic gateway to the Midwest and the United States. We at BNSF are supportive of that growth, as well as any freight opportunities in Will County that ultimately benefit our customers and the surrounding communities.
As union members, we have seen projects come and go. We have worked on the tallest buildings, and we've worked in the smallest municipalities. And what we see on this project from this developer is something rarely seen. We're seeing a willingness of North Point to listen and to accommodate, a willingness to work towards solutions rather than present problems. So with that perspective in mind, I urge you to steer the ship and vote yes on North Point. Thank you.
So 97 people got up and spoke, and some people had some phenomenal information. They had done a lot of research, and as people found out more and more information, it's absolutely mind-boggling that that the vote would go the way that it did.
The public hearing is now complete. Thank you, everyone, for your cooperation. This is the time for the Plan Commission to deliberate on its recommendation to the Village Board. Remember that this is a recommendation only, and the Village Board is not bound by any decision or recommendation that's made here tonight.
Like Dave just said, that's what we're looking for now is either a motion for approval or a motion for denial. And leave that up to you, gentlemen.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Is there a second for an approval?
I second.
I'm going to do roll call now, if you please have respect. Commissioner Fanning.
No.
Commissioner Nagel.
Yes.
Commissioner Vaughn.
Yes.
Chairman Hickey.
Yes.
We have the recommendation to approve the rezoning from I-4 to I-2 of the Elwood property, consisting of approximately 176 acres.
Entertain a
The motion
to
carried.
adjourn. Yeah.
I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
When they voted to approve the project without any discussion, without any questions, without even a moment to think about it, and they just approved it, that was just devastating.
I was impressed at the way the residents handled themselves and pulled themselves up by their bootstraps and said, this is not a final decision, and we are going to continue fighting this.
The residents stayed strong. I mean, they went to those meetings and they sat there first night for 4 hours, the second night for 5, and the third night for 5. And then to have what happened at that planning and zoning board, I mean, people were just dumbfounded. And whether it was going to pass or fail, the lack of a board, an advisory board, not asking one question or making one comment and just voting was, like I said, I'm speechless about it because I've never seen that happen before.
Today, we're trying to get signatures on a petition that we've got for Elwood residents only, and it's a call to action to the mayor, basically to get him to step up and do the right thing by the residents. At this point, we've got probably about half the population or more of village residents that are opposed to it that have come out and signed the petition, and we still have a week to go.
Scott Slocum in the morning. This is 1340 WJOL. Turk Furniture Studio Line is where we find the mayor of Elwood, Doug Jaco. Doug has what I deem an historic announcement to make. Let's get right to it. What would you like to tell your residents this morning?
I'd like to let the residents know that there will not be a public hearing on the 23rd. There's no reason to hold a public hearing because the North Point will not have any votes to move forward.
I didn't believe it. I was pretty dumbfounded and shocked at first, but when I realized that it actually was canceled, I was elated. It was awesome.
What I'd like to think is that the trustees realized that the people aren't for it and that they decided to go with what the people wanted them to say.
I'm cautiously optimistic that the project is dead. I think we still have our eyes and ears open. I hope that they don't try and change things just a little bit to make it seem more palatable. There's nothing about this project that's palatable for the residents, so we are cautiously optimistic.
North Point Development has until September to reapproach Elwood. Whether or not they will, if the board will change their mind, I don't know. And they also still own some land, so it's not over yet.